Imagine walking through a city, streets beneath your feet, doorways on either side, the faint outline of a marketplace, a temple, someone's home. Now imagine all of it underwater. Not destroyed, not collapsed, just submerged. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Red, and today we're going deep. Literally. Because scattered across the ocean floors of this planet, there are entire cities sitting in silence. Some were swallowed by rising seas thousands of years ago. Some collapsed into the water after earthquakes. And some, and this is the part that will stay with you, were deliberately flooded by the very people who built them. Today, we're visiting 3 of these places. And by the end of this video, you'll never look at a city the same way again. The oldest sunken city on Earth. Our first stop is the Mediterranean, specifically the southern coast of Greece, just off the shores of Laconia. In 1967, a marine archaeologist named Nicholas Fleming was doing a routine dive when he noticed something strange on the seafloor. Stone walls, courtyards, clearly man-made structures, perfectly preserved, sitting in about 3 to 4 meters of water. What he had found was Pavlopetri, a city that had been sitting on the ocean floor for over 5,000 years. 5,000 years! To put that in perspective, Pavlopetri was already ancient when the pyramids of Giza were being built.
When researchers finally mapped it properly in 2009 using modern underwater scanning technology, what they found was extraordinary. A full urban layout, streets running in organized patterns, buildings with multiple rooms, courtyards, a cemetery, even what appears to be a central plaza, the kind where people would gather, trade, argue, fall in love. This wasn't a village. This was a fully functioning Bronze Age city. And nobody, for 5,000 years, knew it was there. So what happened to it? The most accepted theory involves gradual tectonic activity. The land slowly sank. The sea slowly rose. The people who lived there likely didn't wake up one morning to a flood. They had time to leave, to pack their things, say goodbye to their streets, and walk away knowing the water was coming. What they left behind is now one of the most perfectly preserved windows into Bronze Age life we have ever found. A city that time and the sea accidentally protected. The legendary city that wasn't just a legend. Now we travel east, to the western coast of India in the Gulf of Khambak. For thousands of years, the city of Dwarka existed in Hindu scripture as a place of almost mythological importance. According to the ancient epic, the Mahabharata, Dwarka was a golden city, a place of extraordinary beauty and power, with massive walls, thousands of palaces, and streets paved with precious stone. For most of modern history, scholars treated it the way they treat most ancient legends, as a story, a metaphor. Then, in 2001, the National Institute of Ocean Technology in India was conducting a routine sonar survey of the seabed, and they found something that changed the conversation entirely. Ruins, submerged ruins, spread across a massive area of the seafloor, further out than anyone expected and far older than anyone was prepared for.
The structures showed geometric, man-made patterns, stone walls, foundations, objects that appeared to be tools and construction materials. Carbon dating of some recovered artifacts suggested ages of up to 9,000 years, which would make this one of the oldest human settlements ever discovered, anywhere on Earth. Now, to be clear, this is still contested. Archaeologists debate what exactly was found, how old it truly is, and whether it connects to the Dwarka of Scripture. Underwater archaeology is incredibly difficult, and national pride sometimes clouds scientific interpretation. But here is what nobody debates. Something is down there. Something large, something structured, and something very, very old. The legend of Dwarka survived
thousands of years of retelling. And now it seems the ocean may have been keeping the proof all along.
The cities that were deliberately drowned. Now we get to the part of this story that I think is the most haunting of all. Because the first two cities were swallowed by nature. Nobody chose that. But these next two, these were a choice. Shi Cheng, China. In 1959, the Chinese government made a decision. They needed a hydroelectric dam, and to build it, they needed to flood a valley that happened to contain Shi Cheng, a city that had stood for over 1,300 years. The people were relocated, the decision was made, and the water came. Today, Shi Cheng sits about 40 meters below the surface of Qiandao Lake, and what divers have found there is almost unbelievable. The city is intact, stone archways still standing, staircases leading to nowhere, lion sculptures guarding doorways that no one will ever walk through again, wooden beams that haven't rotted, because the cold, still water protected them perfectly. An entire city, frozen in 1959, waiting at the bottom of a lake. Villa Epecuén, Argentina. This one is different, and in some ways more personal. Villa Epecuén was a thriving tourist town in Argentina, built on the shores of a saltwater lake famous for its therapeutic waters. In the 1970s, it had over 5,000 visitors a day, hotels, spa resorts, a bustling main street. In 1985, the lake flooded. The waters rose slowly at first, then faster. Residents had just enough time to grab what they could and leave. The town was submerged under 10 meters of water for over 2 decades. Then, in 2009, something strange happened. A drought. The waters began to recede, and Villa Epecuén slowly re-emerged from the lake. Buildings still standing, cars still rusting in the streets, trees bleached white by the salt. It looked like the end of the world, and it was hauntingly beautiful. One man moved back. Pablo Novak, who had lived there his whole life, returned to the ruins of his town. He tends to it alone, walks the same streets he walked as a child, now crumbling, salt-encrusted, half collapsed. He says he could never leave again. Some things are worth staying for, even when everything is gone. The history beneath the waves. Here's a thought that I want to leave you with. Archaeologists estimate that more human history lies on the ocean floors of this planet than exists in every museum, every archive, and every excavation site on land combined. We have mapped less than 25% of the world's ocean floors, which means that right now, as you watch this, there are cities down there that no one has ever seen. Temples, roads, harbors, the remnants of lives lived thousands of years before anyone wrote anything down. The ocean didn't erase history. In many cases, it preserved it, protected it from the wars, the fires, the centuries of people building on top of each other that destroy so much of what came before. The sea is the world's greatest archive, and we've barely opened it. So, Pavlopetri, Dwarka, Shi Cheng, Villa Epecuén. 4 cities, 4 different fates, but the same haunting question underneath all of them. What happens to a place when the people leave? Does a city die when its last resident walks away? Or does it keep existing, quietly, in the dark, waiting to be remembered? I'll let you decide. If this video made you think, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more curious people just like you. And if you want more deep dives into the hidden corners of history and nature, subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss one. And I'll see you in the next story.